Alright, guys, a bit of an esoteric topic for y'all. I had something kind of on my mind that I started talking about that I felt like I need to, table it for a different recording completely. So, lately I've been kind of thinking about, okay, what, of what I do or how I act or what I say or how I react to things, what of that is programmed and what of it is just my nature, right? What was learned and what was natural. Now I don't really know how to even really delve into that. The first thing I've been thinking today about it was like, maybe one way to delve into it is to figure out what I to try and figure out like what like if I can determine where the origin of something started occurring. So I guess I can give examples, but I don't really even know how to really address this. I don't know if it's really important to address it because it's kind of like, oh, it's just how I am now. But I mean, why I am the way I am. I mean, some of it's good, some of it's kind of like, I could probably do better with some things. I could take something kind of like surfacey. It's maybe not too surfacey, but a little surfacey. So, exercising, working out, getting exercise. When did I stop doing that? I stopped doing that. I stopped doing routine PE class in ninth grade. So ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Is that right? Yeah. No? Wait. No, maybe I had PE ninth and 10th grade. I feel like 10th grade I didn't have PE though. I don't know. I went to a school that stopped at 10th grade and then I finished up high school at a different school. There was a public school. So I finished up 11th, 12th somewhere else because the school only went half through. And so, yeah, I went to a school, like, they're called junior academies. Like, they don't go all the way through. And so, yeah, you have to finish up high school elsewhere, but they give you enough so that you can transfer into pretty much any school. Like, I don't think nobody I knew had trouble transferring. Like, they set you up pretty well. And, I think when I went to public school, my mom was telling me that they counted my religion classes as history classes so that I didn't have to, be behind in history, I think. I don't know if we had history classes in 9th and 10th grade. I don't remember it. I really don't remember. We had health class. I don't remember what classes I took. I remember taking English, math, work experience. 9th grade work experience was on campus. 10th grade work experience was off campus. And so that's why we didn't have PE 10th grade, because we would go walk to our local assignment. We would all walk there together. So yeah, 9th grade. 10th grade. Yeah. And so, yeah, I was done with PE by my senior year. I remember that. So I didn't have to go in junior or senior year. So yeah, I didn't really have to go in. So, um, yeah. Um, yeah, so yeah, I didn't really have to go in. And then, um, yeah, I remember being glad that I didn't have to do PE. Um, and I think, I don't remember how I was feeling in like 10th grade. Like, it's kind of like a blur because the school I went to was kind of like 7th, 8th, 7th and 8th grade felt like freshman, sophomore, because the upperclassmen were 9th and 10th graders, which were technically freshmen and sophomores. But because they were older than us 7th and 8th graders, then we shared a lot of things like the locker rooms, PE classes, like a lot of the school was like, it had preschool there, it had kindergarten there, it had little kids there. So like once you got older, you kind of had like this separate stuff that you were able to like go and do. And so they kind of, once you were in 7th grade, you were kind of allotted more privileges because you were in junior high. Like we didn't have 6 to 8 junior high. We had 7 and 8th was junior high, and then 9 and 10 was freshman, sophomore of high school. And then when I went to the public school locally, I was in junior and senior year. I graduated out of the public school because my other school didn't finish the grades. Like there was no way to graduate from that school because it didn't have the grades to do it. I think they said because you can't get all the electives and upper classes you need at that school, so you had to transfer out because they didn't have the staff, they didn't have the ability to provide all these like electives and stuff. I can't remember exactly what, like music appreciation and I think I took psychology as an elective. What else? I don't know. I can't remember what I took in high school. I remember history, world history, US history, math, a lot of math. I think I went up through algebra 2 in math, and then in my senior year or the year before I started college, when I graduated high school, I took college level math, so that I was done with algebra and geometry and all that, and I had to take like trig and calculus in community college, and a bunch of statistics classes. So when it comes to like exercising and working out, I remember when I was younger, I was pretty active, but I've talked about kind of like the lifestyle I grew up with. I was around a lot of religious people and people who weren't really allowed to do too much, but sports were usually okay as long as you weren't playing sports on the Sabbath. And sometimes you could even get away with sports on the Sabbath, but it's like there was always opportunity for us to play sports. There was almost always opportunity to be like, playing sports before school on weekdays, playing sports after school on weekdays, playing sports during lunch break on weekdays, and then we'd have PE on weekdays. And so we had multiple opportunities every day to play sports. At our school, we weren't allowed to bring like electronics. And when I was younger, like cell phones weren't really like a thing people would bring to school, but like even things like those Tamagotchis and Nano Pets and all that, you weren't really allowed to bring them. You weren't allowed to bring radios. You weren't allowed to bring Walkman or Discman or video games or anything. So, like, you couldn't bring anything with you. So, unless you were just, like, talking to people, you were kind of doing something active, or maybe, like, some people, like, we were kind of shy about it, but we made some bands on occasion, and, like, we called our group, we just called it, this is when we were, like, younger, in, like, 5th grade or something, we called it, like, The Thingy, because we didn't really want to say, like, what we were doing, and we said that we were like a rap group, and we never really created rap music and like actually performed songs or anything, but we were all into it, And I would kind of write my own stuff on the side. And I had another friend who was, this is when I was way younger. Like, he was like, we called him like a preacher or something. Like, he wanted to be like a preacher. And then, yeah, like, but he would sing. He was like really into gospel music. And then, yeah, like, he was okay. Like, he was friendly. He was fun, friendly. And then, like, yeah, it was mostly guys. Like, I was just in a group with a bunch of guys. And I think I had one, like, maybe one female friend that was there too. But yeah, one of those females went and told this other kind of group of females that were kind of like really femme girls that, like, they could sing. They were actually good singers. Not that we were bad singers, because, like, and we were so involved in, like, church related stuff that, like, there was always singing going on. So, like, we would sing a lot. And so, like, we actually had quite a bit of practice with singing. I wouldn't say that any of us were, like, bad singers. Like, we could hold the tune. But we weren't, like, trying to get on the mic in front of people all the time and stuff. And then I started gravitating towards guitar. But I was just more comfortable with it, because singing is kind of like, I don't know, I've always been insecure about singing. Like, I gotta have some drinks in me or something usually. But I'm not like a bad singer, just my voice doesn't have like a very high tolerance for being strained. So, you know, my vocals get strained pretty easily. But yeah, oh my goodness, yeah, like, one of those friends went and told the other group of female friends or female classmates. I don't know if I wasn't like hanging out with them, but I wasn't unfriendly towards them. It was just another group that, like, we didn't really cross paths that much. But that girl went and told the other girls, and we kind of had maybe some competition, but they would actually perform and, like, get solos and, like, the plays and stuff that we would do at school. And, like, I wasn't really into that. And, like, but they would actually sing, like, at churches and stuff. And, like one of them was, like, into singing. It was, like, a skilled singer who got, like, lead roles and stuff. And then the others of us were kind of like, we were just really into music and talked about music a lot, and, like, shared CDs. And, you know, we'd not trade, but we'd let each other borrow each other's CDs. And, like, we would sit up in this, like, tree house saying that we were, like, a band and stuff, and, like, or, like, a rap group or something. And, you know, I was really into it. But like, I don't really know. Like, I thought people were like, I don't know. Like, I thought it was a good time. But yeah, I never really wanted to do PE and, like, sports and stuff. I just kind of did it because it was just what people did. So I wasn't, like, terrible at sports, and especially if I was, like, in female leagues and stuff, like, usually I was, like, one of the better people, because I played sports a lot, you know. And, like, I would play sports with guys. Like, I just had a lot of practice, you know. Like, I'd play hockey, I'd rollerblade, I'd, you know, play basketball, play soccer, football, well, we didn't really get to play baseball that much, just because, like, nobody really had equipment like that. Like, there weren't, I don't know, like, in LA, there aren't that many places you can just play baseball. Like, you can't really play street baseball. Like, you can play catch and stuff, but you can't really play baseball. So we would play football, we would play, like, I would play catch with my brother a lot, like, kick the ball around with my brother when we'd have friends over, because we'd have friends over all the dang time, and we'd play sports. We play, like, martial arts games with our friends who did take, like, karate or taekwondo classes, and we'd kind of, like, learn different moves from them and stuff. And, like we're pretty active. Like, we were outside a lot, and, you know, just playing and stuff. And probably even up until my teens, like, you know, people started, like, skateboarding and stuff, and some of us were into snowboarding and everything. And, like, yeah, like, I just had just naturally an active life, just because the people I was around were active. And it's like, you know, I wasn't really into, like, sitting around, Because after a while, it's like, because if you think about it, I would see the same people every day, right? So it's like, even though I love to sit around and just talk, it's like, dude, I'm gonna see you tomorrow, and I'll see you the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, you know? Like, even on breaks, once it was summer vacation, we'd see each other all the time. Spring break, we'd see each other all the time. There'd be times in the year where, like, we'd go out of town, somebody would go out of town for, like, a couple weeks or a month during summer vacation, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not gonna see this person, you know, for, like, 3 or 4 weeks. Like, it would be, like, it would feel like forever. It was like, wow, like, you went out of town, and, like, now there's no one to play with and no one to talk to, and like we didn't really like interact. But yeah, I was really just you know, there was I guess I don't know, I would get a little anxious playing sports. That's kind of the thing that I didn't really like. But back then I was in such decent shape that I could play like probably two full games going hard and still function. Like once I got to like a third game, I think that was too much for me, but I could usually play 2 games. Like I could play like a pretty hardcore game at lunchtime and then play a pretty hardcore game at PE and still be fine for the next day and not be like sore and too tired. And like that was like after running a mile and doing like drills and stuff like that. Like, and I would like jog the mile, like run the mile, like I could get through the whole thing. And like, you know, like sometimes it was a mile and a half if the guy was like mad, if the guy doing PE was mad at us. But yeah, like we just did sports. Like we were pretty active growing up, and I did have a little bit of performance anxiety though, just because like I didn't like messing up playing sports, and that I think that's what made me kind of not really want to play as much. Like these days I don't really play organized team sports. That's why I'm kind of into like snowboarding, and you know, I like rock gyms, and you know, like I don't really swim. I might get back into it this summer, but like swimming, rollerblading, stuff like that, where it's just like kind of simple to do. And that's kind of what I like, is just like sports that I can just go do it when I feel like it. But yeah, I don't really think yeah, I don't think I started getting into the mindset of being kind of lazier until about that 10th grade year when I didn't have to do PE. I was still playing in sports league. I played in sports league still 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, and through 4 years of college. I was at least playing women's soccer that whole time. On Sundays, but it wasn't every single Sunday. It was like seasonal. And I don't remember when I stopped playing basketball in the girls' league. I think I was like in 10th grade or something like that. And then it didn't really go past 10th grade. But yeah, we would play. My dad kind of tried to get us into another league. I don't know if we got to play much. I remember being able to play like an A game once. Like they took me off the bench like once. But it was like a league that was like way better. And I had some friends that played in that league. And that were like really good at girls basketball. And they had girls and guys. And I don't know if we went in, if it was like tryouts, because it didn't seem like they had us doing much. But I remember my dad took us there once. We showed up. It was kind of late. The game was already going. There were some girls that I had already known. Like one of my friend's female cousins was there. And then these other 2 girls that we knew from church who had, I guess their dad had invited us to go or told us about it or whatever. But yeah, my dad had to drive us there. And like, it was a little more pumped up, larger scale stuff, but I don't know. I usually would just go play sports. Like, it was just kind of what I did. It wasn't really, I didn't really have, I don't think I had much say in it, but I also didn't complain because it's like, I wasn't like bad at sports. So it was kind of like, at least, even if I was nervous, I was like good enough to play, and people wouldn't like tell me not to play. Like, whenever we'd have like pickup games and stuff, people would want me to play. Like, they wouldn't assume I didn't want to play. And like, I was enough of an asset to teams. Like, I would score some points here and there, and like, but I don't know, it was a little anxiety provoking. Like, not everybody was like hot-headed and stuff. Like, usually we had a fun time. Like, but sometimes there were some people, I think when I was like in college, I started getting involved with some other crowds of people that were like a little more on the angry side, and they weren't so calm and didn't have like good like social boundaries with like how they were yelling at people and all kinds of nonsense. But it was kind of like people would just kind of let that kind of thing go. But yeah, there was this one dude who just didn't have a sense of humor, and he was kind of like that, and I wasn't really into him. He was like super into soccer though. He's always been into soccer. And I'm into soccer too. Like, I'm totally into soccer. So like, we kind of bonded on that. All of us did. We still kind of do, but yeah, like, I think that's like 10th grade or so is when I stopped getting involved in staying involved in like school sports, school, like playing at school, either PE or lunchtime or anything. We probably still played sports at lunchtime, honestly. I don't remember, but I feel like lunchtime and after school, because I think my mom worked after school sometimes at the same school, and so there were times when we would stay after school and play sports for a little bit and stuff. So I remember being there after school playing, but like, we just didn't have like organized PE. And then 11th, 12th, I didn't have to do PE at all because I'd already finished my PE credits. And then, but yeah, I played on Sundays sometimes. And I do remember like in my room, like lifting weights, kind of like, I would lift weights, not weights, but I would have this like water bottle that I would fill, and I would lift that. I would do like push-ups. I don't remember if I did sit-ups, but I'd only do like 15, 20 here and there. Like, I didn't really do a whole lot, honestly. But yeah, I did a little bit here and there. And then, yeah, I do remember doing that. And I was younger. But I was like in high school. Because I kind of felt better about it, like doing it a little bit. And I remember back then my sister was kind of getting a little bit older, so she used to start calling me fatty. I don't know if I was gaining weight at all. Like, it's hard for me to tell because I never really focused on anything like that until way later. I don't know if I was gaining weight, but my sister was also like at that bratty age, and so like she would call me like fatty and stuff like that. But I don't really think I was out of shape, but maybe I was because I had stopped exercising like I was. But I never really went to the gym or anything like that. I think when it hit me that I wasn't very as fit as usual, because I would usually just like go to the mountain snowboarding or whatever. Like, I would never have to train for things. I would just like go do it, like. So I had a few years like that where I just kind of would just still be randomly doing sports, but I wasn't like consistently active, but I would still be able to just like get out there and play and stuff. Like, I still had the skills. I didn't feel so rusty, I still had the motor memory. I was still like physically fit enough to like get out and like play just pickup games at random. But I think that changed my first year of grad school. That was the first time I remember, like, when I got injured that first soccer game that I played in the women's league that year. I remember that was the first year I remember, like, just going into a game cold and trying to run and having trouble running. And I was like, man, like, I'm out of breath. Like, I couldn't overtake someone, like, running when I was, like, defending. And I would defend pretty, like, high up on the field. Like, I didn't stay back too far. Like, I was pretty far up most of the time. And because I played like mid, I was used to playing midfield, and so I was usually just running the whole field all the time anyways. So I would play kind of more like D, but mid. I wasn't really scoring all the time. I don't know, I didn't really find it as fun, because like then you're just up there waiting for someone to like lob you the ball, and I usually just liked, like, I felt like if you play defense in mid, you're kind of getting the ball more, and I kind of enjoyed that more. And I like playing in the middle more, because I felt like, okay, well, I wasn't technically defense, and so I didn't really feel at fault if there were goals and stuff. But I remember in that game, I think I was playing mid, and I was like trying to overtake people at the first half, and I was like, man, this has never happened, because they weren't running that fast, and I wasn't able to like run, and I was like, damn, I can't run anymore. And then like I was playing goalie, and so I stepped back and started playing goalie, I think, for the second half, and I got injured because when I went to like bend down and like get the ball while I was running, my cleats were cheap, and I kind of like skid a little bit in some like wet area of grass or mud, and then my knee kind of hyperextended like backwards a little bit. Like, it hurt, and I was like, I thought I broke it, but I just took it easy for a few days. But I sat out and stopped playing, and that was probably the last organized game of soccer that I played, because I was like, man, I can't be risking getting injured in grad school, like, I'm trying to focus on school here. And that was out of my way, because I was living outside of the city that the league was in at that time, and I was living closer to Cal State LA campus, so it was like an hour drive just to come down and play. And so I was like, dang, so I don't know if I want to do this every Sunday. So I just didn't do it every Sunday. But that's the first time I noticed being out of shape in a way that, like, I was not aware of that. And then I remember the next day, or the next thing that I remember was maybe the second year I was at Cal State LA is when I really started gaining weight. Maybe it was the third year, because there was a year where I stopped parking off campus, so I was no longer taking like 20 to 30 minutes just to walk to and from my car. And if you know that area, the back of that campus has a lot of hills, and so you have to walk like up or down all these hills, through the campus, up a giant flight of stairs. And then a lot of my classes were in these older buildings, and like the elevators were so slow, and I would just take the stairs. It would be like 2, 3, 4 flights of stairs, and I would just take the stairs. So I was like in okay shape, because I was like walking still then. And then I think my second or third year of grad school, I remember it must have been after the second year of grad school, because I was in grad school for 3 years, because my project took so long. So basically, my thesis took forever. Collecting data took forever. So basically, I got I would park off campus. But then when I started staying late, working on my thesis, hanging out in my friend's lab, when I started staying late, I started parking on campus. I didn't really mind walking in the middle of the night by myself, but I was lazy and I could afford to pay for the pass, so I just paid for the pass and just parked in the lot, because I didn't really know anyone who was walking. Like, there were people that I used to walk with in the evenings, so I would kind of always park in the same place. But Sometimes I couldn't find parking, and I'd end up parking like way back in the cut somewhere, like up like 3 different hills. I'd be like, damn, like this is gonna be a walk. But yeah, like I was always walking like downhill before I got to campus and walked uphill once I got to campus. But either way, you were gonna have to walk uphill one way or the other. So it was, I did that every day, and it was enough exercise, I think, to sustain me until I stopped doing it. And that's when I noticed after one summer vacation, because like I wear shorts all the time, but then in grad school, I think some classes I wore pants and stuff, like just to look like a little nicer. And so I would, I think after summer vacation, I was like, okay, like, I went to put on my clothes to like go somewhere, and I was like, ooh, like these don't fit anymore. And that's like back when I used to wear like a size 8 in women's. And so like everything was tight. It didn't really fit anymore. And then I remember from there I went up to like, I don't know what size clothing it's hard to really judge my clothing size because I always get clothes that are a little oversized. And then sometimes I wear guys clothes, sometimes I wear women's clothes. Like I really don't know what size I actually wear. But that I think also contributes to when I gain weight, it's hard for me to tell right away because I don't really have a lot of tight fitting clothes. And so once they start feeling a little snug, I'm like, I must have gained weight because these clothes, like there's a lot of clothes I had that when I got them, I needed a belt, and I do not need a belt anymore. So it's like, and I keep clothes for so long. And so it's like when they start fitting different, I'm like, ooh, like I think the tightest thing I own are certain underwear. And when they're fitting really tight, I'm like, okay, like gotta go to the gym. Like there's no way these should be like this tight, you know what I mean? Like if I'm bending over and there's like plumber's crack, and there wasn't plumber's crack before, like I don't buy new clothes so often. And so because I don't, I know pretty much how they're supposed to fit. And lately I've definitely noticed that they're fitting a little tighter. My doctor had me taking some medicine because they're doing some tests on stuff, and like, yeah, I think it made me gain a little bit of weight in the last like week or two. And yeah, but I've also noticed going to the gym, I noticed the results and stuff too when I exercise more at home, even like a little bit at home and then a little bit out, and just keep it consistent, even if I'm not like doing any like major thing, just trying to keep the exercise very consistent. But yeah, that's something that I've noticed that is an easy thing to track, kind of like how I felt about it early on. Like I was playing sports early on since I was young, and I just got a little bit nervous about it because I didn't really like eyes on me when I was playing sports. But because I had skills, like I wasn't like super, super good, but I think also when you're like a female playing sports, you kind of don't have to be like that good. Like I'm not saying that women aren't good at sports. I'm just saying like back when I was growing up, there weren't like a lot of people playing women's sports like that, like in a way that was even like it is today. Like WNBA started within my lifetime. Like I remember when the first WNBA games were, and it's like, yeah, the WNBA wasn't even like a thing. And now it's definitely bigger than it was back then, but like, yeah, like even stuff like that, so it's kind of like, and women's football is starting to come in now, too. And there's a lot of stuff, like there are definitely athletic women. And I've definitely been going back to stuff that has worked for me in the past, like getting back into athletic stuff and getting back into musical stuff. And yeah, I've never been too too concerned or upset by certain things, like I'm kind of like I don't know, like I'm trying like some things you have control over, you know? And I would say with some of the results I got at the doctor's office, that was kind of enough to kind of get me a kick in the butt to just be like, all right, like, I've got some motivation because the doctors are going to say something. So, you know, let me kind of get myself into a little better shape. And that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't really want to you know, like have health problems and stuff like that. And I have noticed my energy's weird. I get brain fog pretty bad. Like I'm not as focused as I'd like to be. I'm not as energetic as I'd like to be. I'm not sleeping as good as I'd like to do. I get irritable sometimes, and it's like, yeah, I just need to get out more, exercise more. That definitely contributes to me just generally feeling better. So there's definitely a benefit to it, even just immediately within my day-to-day. I definitely sleep better the nights that I work out during the day. I definitely sleep better. Well, that's if I don't have like too much C4 of a pre-workout or caffeine or something in my system, but I definitely, or if I'm not stressed about anything in particular, but this like keeping me up. But usually I'll sleep a lot better. I find it easier just to fall asleep and just like chill. And yeah, like I really do feel the difference. I do notice that there's a difference, and yeah, I have been trying not to have problems with too many things. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to like, this whole point of taking all this time off work and stuff was to get my health on track. And I did spend a lot of time feeling pretty bad. And I think, it's also because, I hadn't really been working out too much. Like, I think, like, I'm not so far from working out. Like, I would say there are pockets of the year, like definitely right before I go snowboarding, I like to work out because it's like, the trip's going to be a bust if I can't like hardly breathe because of the altitude or like do anything. I need to be in shape to be able to do it. And there have been some years and seasons like this season and last season were pretty rough for me because I was not in good shape. And so that was not pleasant to realize that, like, and I know I'm not putting in the work. Like, I know I haven't always been consistently putting in the work. If I compare how I was putting in work over 2 seasons ago, I was able to snowboard at Taos in New Mexico and actually I was taking my time, but like I was functioning and did good. Like I was able to actually do it. Like I can't imagine being able to actually do it, anywhere else. So I don't know, but like I was pretty, I don't know, I'm pretty like I guess I should be happy that I'm not really injured. I do get problems though. Like I get like back pain and pain in like my spine and my shoulders and stuff, but I think it's from being inactive. That's literally what it is. And I've gotten a little more used to being inactive, but different things like pain developing and just like my mood being all weird and like my focus and energy and alertness and all that being like a little off, that's not going to be good for me. Going into a new job environment and stuff, like I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to be like self-conscious about my body and stuff like that. Like we hardly have any sun anyways, but I think today's about to be our first like sunny week because today we finally had sun and it looks like there's more sun to come. And I hardly wear jackets as it is. I'm usually wearing t-shirts. My t-shirts tend to be kind of fitted, and so I like them to fit. Like, I don't like to be all like feeling like I'm, you know, like, there's nothing wrong with having fat, but I don't like I wasn't, you know, I was always a kid that was like too skinny, and like, but I was also very active. So it's like, I never knew what, like, if I would gain weight or what, like, but yeah, my siblings are pretty active. They've stayed pretty active. I've stayed pretty inactive, but I kind of get in some activity here and there, but it's easier for me now. Like, lately I'm kind of having a little ease with it, but it really does depend on my mood. And when I don't feel well, it's hard to work out, and when I don't work out, it's hard to feel well. And so it's just simple stuff like that. But yeah, like, when I start like looking at it, it's like, yeah, I can look at like the whole background of like why I don't do something. And that's just with working out. That's something that's a challenge now that wasn't really a challenge when I was growing up, because I had so much opportunity to do it, and because I was so into like my social life and just naturally just was hanging out with local friends and stuff all the time anyways. And everyone kind of played sports, because I hung out with guys a lot. Like, they like to play sports, and so we played sports. And so, yeah, I was just around it so often, and I guess to my benefit. And then I liked, I don't know, like, I've always enjoyed it. I've always felt better, I remember Sundays just being wiped out. Like, I would just come home and just like chill, like, like, but yeah, like, I had fun. Like, I was really into it, and like, it was competitive, but it wasn't like bad. Like, it was kind of casual. Like, we would just have like leagues with like 4 teams, and then you just rotate playing which team, and like, I think the first day they would see if the team seemed a little bit even, and then they would change people every so often. But I liked it. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. And my dad was a part of setting up that sports league, along with one of my other close friends' dads. Like, they are the ones who organized it all, and I think it's still going. But yeah, I really liked playing sports when I was growing up, and it's kind of been nice lately to get a little bit back into stuff. Like, yeah, like, I like dancing and stuff like that. That's something that I've really started getting way more into. And that's one of the main things that I kind of like. And yeah, I try to do that every so often. But yeah, I try not to go too long without working out, but I have gone like maybe 2 weeks here and there without working out, and it's hard for me to have like chips in the house. Like, my mom buys a bunch of freaking junk food, and we have like a box full of like Cheetos and Doritos and all kinds of chips, so it's really hard for me to not get into those boxes. I'd say I eat relatively healthy. I'd say the least healthy thing that I eat is McDonald's. I try not to eat there more than once a week. Sometimes I'll eat there twice in a week, but I know that it's very high calorie and unhealthy, so I do try to like tailor the rest of my eating. Like, if I eat like a super light breakfast, or if I'm having like a late brunch, I might have like McDonald's, or I'll have it for breakfast, but then I'll watch what I eat. But I'm sometimes not too disciplined. I don't like to eat that kind of stuff, but it is delicious on occasion. But I really try not to eat it more than like once a week. Subway, Chipotle, they're kind of more my style, and they're almost the same price as McDonald's now that you think of it, but you have to get like out of the car to order them. And then, I live near a Ralph's. There's a there's also a Sprouts not too far from me, and so there's ways to get like healthy food, even if it's like delivered. It's like right there. There's a Taco Bell too. So Taco Bell and McDonald's are the drive-throughs that are closest to me, and then I have actual other stores where I could just pop in and like buy like a pre-made healthier meal or sandwich or something. And at home, we cook. Like my mom usually cooks dinner. I'll usually eat leftovers for dinner or leftovers for lunch or something. Takeout or maybe I'll get takeout for dinner if there's something for dinner that I don't really want. We get creative in my family sometimes, and sometimes I just want to know what I'm eating and not eat some like weird thing. But yeah, we don't always have the groceries in the house. Like, we're not really good at like always having all the groceries that we need. We kind of go for a while until it's like, okay, we need to shop, So there are days where I'll eat like outside of the house just because nobody's really gone shopping. And then, yeah, just having stuff kind of like to eat, or like just watching what I eat. Like I'm a little bit picky with it. I try to eat healthy. I don't eat like too healthy. I'd say especially because I snack at night, so that makes it so my healthy food is like less. But yeah, trying to challenge stuff like that, just trying to like look at it. I mean, it takes a lot of time and energy, just to try to dissect stuff. But I mean, I didn't even like go into a deep level on that, but it's like I don't know where the performance anxiety came from. I've never really liked doing stuff like music solos, being on stage, that kind of thing. Like I've done it before, like public speaking, like piano recitals, played in like church bands, done like duets with people, or like been like lead like with certain music and stuff like that. I never really liked being the lead with stuff. I always kind of liked to be like in the background. And I don't know. But I, kind of, I don't know. I feel like I kind of, I've had kind of like like sometimes it's like fall back to the basics. Like I was raised in a fairly healthy environment, like around very health conscious people. It was part of the religion to be health conscious. And so even though I grew up around some people that might have had like some psychological issues and stuff, overall most of the people cared about health and religion and stuff like that, and like tried to have like a balanced lifestyle of some form. So that was like overall, but I wouldn't say everybody, but like, yeah, overall it was kind of like people were trying to live healthy. And because those people believed in that, like they provided those environments for their kids. Like I remember going over to the pastor's house. He always had like a Bowflex in his garage, and I thought it was so cool. And like he would let us use it and stuff, and like, when we would go to his house, like we would play like little pickup games on his street, and like, we would always kind of like hang out, outside and stuff. Like we weren't really too into just sitting around. And so yeah, like I like doing active stuff. I still do, but it's harder and harder to kind of do stuff with people. So it's kind of nice to kind of, interact with people kind of like that and doing some little active things. Um, like it doesn't even have to be anything like too strenuous, But yeah, I've always enjoyed it, but I don't really know. Like yeah, today I had a really good gym day, so exercise is kind of just like on my mind. I just want to keep the momentum going, but um yeah, I mean there's other stuff too, like eating healthy is a hard one. I don't know if I was raised eating healthy, like too healthy. Like I was raised eating a lot of home cooked meals. Like I cook my breakfast like 99% of mornings. And it's usually eggs, oats. That's usually what it is. Some kind of fruit, maybe some bread if I'm not having oats. I don't have bread for breakfast every day though. Like there's a lot of days I don't have like any carbs for breakfast. I don't know if that's good or bad. And yeah. But yeah, I do need to watch my sodium and cholesterol. I think one thing that I'm going to try to cut out, it's hard for me to say, but I'm going to try to cut out these chips. Like I need to find some kind of healthier alternative to these stupid chips that we have, because I can't be eating Cheetos and Doritos like 3-4 times a week. Like that's too much, and it's hard to like resist it because they're like right there. So yeah, I don't really know. I haven't really been like too focused on these specific topics, but it's definitely on my mind, in the back of my mind, but I'd like it to be more at the forefront. I'd like to feel like I want to be more active every day. I'd like to feel kind of like the energy I have today is kind of good energy. Like, my mindset's in a better place. I've been definitely doing a lot of work on my mindset. Some of the stuff I've learned in the 4 agreements, and I'm doing this mindset boot camp, and just in general spent a little more time than usual with like reflecting and meditating this week. It's definitely helped. And yeah, like it's helped me to feel a lot better, even though there is kind of like, I do kind of worry like, maybe I'm gonna go back to not feeling this good. Like it is kind of like annoying when it's like, I don't want to go to sleep on time because today I feel good, and then like I don't want to wake up and tomorrow I feel bad, so like it is kind of nice to have great days, but then it's like I don't know what tomorrow's gonna be like. But I think there's nothing that I have coming up that should make my day bad. Like I'm doing a lot of projects and things and job applications and such, and I feel like with all the stuff I'm doing, it's going pretty well. So yeah, I find it all enjoyable, and I don't know, like with that, like that's mostly all I have to say. But just trying to break down like a lot of things when it comes to like programming, trying to see kind of like how I got where I am, and if there's stuff that I can change, that I want to change, and I'm kind of ready to change, willing to change. Like let me just kind of identify that and like do it. And I think it's going to take a bit to get into routines with stuff, but there was a point in my life where I was doing it, and I was way younger and had way less freedom and way less money and way less everything. So maybe that's what it was. It's like, well, I was so limited that like my parents were just like, all right, if you want activities, you're going to get in the car and we're going to go do whatever's available. And that's all it was. It wasn't me making decisions, going out to drink with friends or whatever. Like, Like, if my parents were taking us out, it was like we were going out to dinner, or we had like a pickup game. I remember there was this one time period where my dad was taking a bunch of us. I think it was maybe during summer vacation, and at night we would go and play like 2 hours of basketball, just like pickup games back to back. And we would just be tired and drained, and like it was fun though. And we all really enjoyed it, but it took adults being invested in us to be able to kind of play. And just organized it for free so that we didn't have to do anything but just be available. So yeah, that was always fun. And yeah, but all right, I gotta get some dinner in me and get on with my evening. I'll see if I actually end up watching a movie tonight or doing some job applications. We'll see. All right, but with that, thanks for listening.